Welcome, 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 and thank you for spending some of your time with us. My name is Tina Rosenquist, and this is Knowledge for Wellness. And this show is to better inform you, because the more information you have, the better decisions you can make. And knowledge is power, and today's topic is on accelerated recovery performance. And bringing us this information is Dennis Thompson, an exercise physiologist and over 25 years of experience working with athletes and non-athletes of all types. He specializes in injuries associated with competing from all sports. And over the last 25 years, he has studied and experimented with bioelectric techniques from all over the world for not only injury recovery, but also preventions of injuries and increasing performance. Wow! Can you imagine being on the top of your game? In a few minutes, we will introduce Dennis and hear about his successful recovery for thousands of clients from all types of injuries and creating techniques to reduce injuries and improving performance with his unique device called the Accelerated Recovery Performance Protocols. Welcome back. And I'd like to welcome Dennis Thompson.
Thank you.
So nice that you could join us. And you are the inventor of the ARP wave.
Correct.
And I'd like you to tell my viewers a little bit about you, because I'm not sure they got to catch the last show.
So you really want to know how I came about this, is that right?
Actually, yes. I would like to know the background, your history, and what even made you want to invent something like this. Was there a mentor that helped you even in your own physical abilities, or what it was?
Well, typically, and I'm going to date myself now, but when I was a small child, there was a thing called a mentoring program in South Dakota, and I was born in South Dakota. And my mom and dad wanted me to be a doctor.
Okay.
And they would go out and they would seek a different doctor, and if the doctor liked you, they would put you underneath their wing, and then they would basically agree to pay your medical cost going to school if you would then agree to sign a contract and work in their practice. Mm-hmm. And so when I was about a freshman in high school, that all came about, and I could never put my arms around physical medicine. Just didn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me now. Didn't make sense to me then.
Okay.
So what I would do then is I would start to look for how other countries dealt with physical trauma. It's called soft tissue injury. Mm-hmm. And I studied how the Japanese worked, how the Russians worked, and I really fell in love with what I call my mentor, which is a gentleman by the name of Yakov Katz, who is the nation's leading neurophysiologist. And he was responsible for the Federation of Russian Athletes in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And if you know anything about the Olympics in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they absolutely annihilated us in almost all events. And it's primarily because of Dr. Katz. And what they professed is that wherever you have a traumatic issue, you must increase the stimulus greater than what the issue was to solve the issue, which is completely foreign to this country, still to this day is foreign to this country. So I couldn't get my arms around medicine, told my mentors in South Dakota that I just couldn't do it. So it became a passion of mine. So I read everything that Dr. Katz wrote. Mm-hmm. I experimented, and one day I had a dream. And everybody kids me about my dreams because everything I do comes from my dreams. Okay. So I had this dream, and I was in this dream, and I was treating people in this dream, but I couldn't see what I was treating them with, but I could see what was happening as I was treating them. The injury would turn from bright red to orange to yellow to blue. So I could see everything going on in the body. Mm-hmm. I knew it was electrical, but I didn't know what the device was. And so I then went on a quest to find a device that would allow me to do what I saw myself do in the dream, and I couldn't find one. Okay. So I began searching and searching, and I ran into a society called the Tesla Society, which is a Russian engineering society. Mm-hmm. And this individual told me, and this is about 30 years from the first dream, told me that they had a device that would allow active range of motion while being stimulated. And that was the answer. So I went to them and I said, I'm going to test this. If I like it, I want you to private label it for me.
Okay.
If that works and all my research works, I'll buy your company. And consequently, we did that 3 years ago.
Wow, that's
So,
amazing.
to answer the question kind of in a nutshell, we do exactly the opposite of what everybody else does, because what everybody else does is physical medicine, and what we're doing is neurological medicine for soft tissue injury.
Okay, yeah. That's good to know, to clarify that for my viewers.
Because everybody understands what a physical therapist does.
Right.
And many people ask me, what's the difference between you and physical therapy? And it's real simple. Physical therapy is a tremendous art, takes a long time to learn, but it's physical medicine.
Right.
We do not do physical medicine. We do neurological medicine, which basically stimulates the physiology. We don't stimulate the physiology to stimulate the nervous system.
Right. And we have proof that it actually has worked on numerous amounts of your patients, along with it being FDA approved. So that reassures the public as well. Yeah.
Well, we treat thousands and thousands and thousands of patients worldwide every year, so, and we've been doing it for 13 years, so it's certainly approved, and it's certainly very effective. And if you pull what traditional soft tissue medicine is, they'll tell you that about 99% of all people who go through soft tissue medicine are still symptomatic at the end. If you poll our people, it's exactly the reverse. 99% are asymptomatic, which means the symptoms are all gone.
Wow.
It's exactly the reverse.
Well, and to know there are people out there that have been in pain every single day, and to know that they can turn their life over and become pain-free. Yeah.
I think that's the greatest thing that we can do is portray to people that, look, you do not have to live in pain. You do not have to live with restricted range of motion. You do not have to have a joint replacement surgery. You don't need any of those things. Those things now can be resolved by working on the origin of the problem, not the symptom.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Exactly. And I know a lot of people come in and say, well, my doctor said it's bone on bone, you know, and they explain all that. And if they come and see you and try this device, they have nothing to lose because they can always go back and have the surgery.
Oh, exactly.
So,
And the device is nothing more than a tool. We've learned some very, very unique ways of using the tool. We call it our protocols. And the protocols are the heart and soul of what we do. So when someone comes to us and they say they're bone on bone, we're not arguing the fact they're bone on bone.
Right.
What we're arguing the fact is that's not why they're bone on bone. So once you find out why you're bone on bone and where's it coming from, you can solve the bone on bone problem. Is it going to make the bone and build cartilage? No. What it's going to do is it's going to take the pain out of the joint, and consequently you don't need surgery, because the only reason you're going to have surgery is because it hurts.
Yes.
If it doesn't hurt, you don't need surgery.
Yeah. And also you'll take away the pills too, the pain
Absolutely.
pills, yeah. So it's pretty fantastic. Because we did have a retired firefighter that had to retire due to some back issues. And it is a young man's job. And since then, you did the range of motion in our last series. And from there, now he came and made an appointment with you.
Correct.
And so now his life has changed dramatically as well. And we have some footage on that we'd like to show the viewers too. So you could walk us through this.
Sure.
Okay.
Be happy to.
Great.
Be happy to.
Okay.